Yes, you guys. Yes, you guys. Welcome back, man. How you guys are doing today? How's your day today? You guys doing good, yeah? Ina, great to see you here, man. Been a long time. CFC Stephen, MB7. Thank you for yesterday too, bro. Ian O'Sullivan, great to see you again. Nice, everyone's back. Everyone's here. That's beautiful to see you guys. Of course, you know, we're here to discuss all things transfer window. And of course, any questions that you guys have in general too. Of course, you guys in the comments, let me know right now. I'm getting a little bit insecure, but tell me my audio is sounding fine. I always feel like I'm doing everything fine, and then there's like one little mistake that I'm making. But I'm hoping that everything is good today, you guys. So yeah, of course, you know, I had to bring this back again. You know, I got the quite a lot of votes from people telling me to bring the stream back again. So of course, with how successful it was yesterday, it was a lot of fun. I'm looking to bring back more Q&A streams, more live stream shows as well, plus a few other things as well in the future too, you guys. So it's going to be a very exciting summer on Blue Lines TV. And without wasting no more time, I feel like we've got to start with the first question today. The first question, who am I gonna answer? Okay, cool. Carefree Youth, great to see you, man. Nini, looking happy, makes me happy. Too kind, bro. But let me move on though. Yo, tuning in from California, Nick N. Hey, what time is it there in Cali right now? It must be like near the start of the day. So of course, you know, if you're watching me during your breakfast or your early lunch, of course, appreciate that, man. Audio sounding good. That's beautiful to hear. Absolutely beautiful to hear. Of course, you know, no more wasting time now. I need to answer some of your questions. So the first one I'm going to answer is from Jordan Brennan. Look at Haaland's Twitter. He is posting by another blue pool. Yeah, I feel like, you know what I mean? They're the little hints, those little teasers that Haaland's putting out there. I mean, realistically though, a deal like that, it's not going to be very public unless, you know, we're getting really close. So unless there is some business that can be done. So it's going to be pretty funny to keep seeing all the memes that are coming out surrounding the story. But hey, personally, you guys, I feel like Haaland is a proper Chelsea striker. Like, I feel like he's one of them characters that you just have to like, you know what I mean? Like, already for a young guy, like, he does not move like he's a kid. And yeah, he just has that way about him. You know what I mean? And I feel like he would definitely complement this team quite a lot. And, you know, that's the number one guy I'm really hoping for that gets signed this summer. So, thanks for that, man. We move on to the next one. Corgan Manuel, England 3, Germany 1. Of course, Tuesday, we got a massive game. I feel like we can beat Germany, but to be honest, I feel like it's going to be quite an even game. I think that with Germany, you know, they're 3-4-3, like Kimmich playing as a wing back isn't necessarily the best way to get the use out of him. I'm not too sure, especially when Kroos doesn't necessarily have the legs too. Personally, I would probably even sacrifice Kroos, play Kimmich there, and I go for more like natural pace down that side. But what would I know? I'm an armchair fan, you know what I mean? I know where my place is. But moving on to MB7, hey man, Yonini, if we can move to a back four next season, do you think Rudiger can play at the same level he is doing in the back three? Big up the content. Yeah, 100%. I definitely think that we didn't see Rudiger fluke last season. And in fact, the season he kind of struggled under Lampard's. And now I've looked back at that, and you know, I feel like definitely injuries played a part. Like, you know, he had no pre-season. It was very hard for him to get his fitness levels back. And you know what, when you're playing games thick and fast, especially during like a COVID season as well, it's going to be very difficult for everyone. Even harder for players that didn't have that pre-season and who aren't, you know, super fit and super perfect. But from what I saw Rudiger doing, the moment, you know, the big game performances, how he played in the Champions League final, you can't fluke that. Like, if this was just temporary form, we'd have seen him flop a long time back. So yeah, I definitely feel confident in Rudiger. Moving on to RC Bayern, Chelsea Fan TV. Big up. What do you think about Marlon from Netherlands or Gravenberch? Now, you know, I've got a little soft spot for Gravenberch. I definitely think this guy is, he's Pogba-esque, 100%. I don't like to throw too many comparisons around, but I can't help but feel like he's like the Dutch Pogba in that sense. Of course, he's had a reputation in Europe now for a very long time. No surprise that Ajax are now getting the best out of him, and that conveyor belt of talent coming out from that club is, you know, it definitely is awe-inspiring. It definitely is an absolute thing of beauty. Gravenberch, for me, is destined to be playing for a top team in the future one day. And I don't know, I feel like, you know, when you look at our squads, we all know deep down that we won't see some of these guys here in the next, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 seasons. There definitely is going to be room to have more changes in the teams. And I definitely think midfield in the future is going to be that area where we see a lot of different, you know, a lot of differences in the future. And you know, let's see how guys like Gravenberch and so many other great midfield players do. You know what I mean? But anyway, we start with the first super chat today. Modas CFC. Thank you, bro. Which Euro shirt do you prefer? Me is the Black Germany kit. Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think that kit is... it's magnifique. It's beautiful. Yeah, like football kits these days, they are so saucy. Like, there's so many good designs. And like, I wish I could just buy them all. But them ones where... literally 9 months later, there's a new one coming out. I'm not looking to waste all my money, all my YouTube money on football kits. But yeah, that black one is nice. I actually like England's kit too. I think that's quite decent, not gonna lie. And you know, I like some of the other ones as well. I like the Argentina one. I like the what's another sick one? I like the Slovakia one. That was like kind of abstract. That was kind of cool. But yeah, man. Thank you for the super chat. Moving on now to Lazy Creator. Nini, do you think Werner will ever gain back his confidence and finish the easy chances? Because I think if he just scores tap-ins, he'll score 20 goals a season. You know what? I want to have some hope in Werner for next season. At least one kind of minor positive, I guess you could even call it that, is that with the chances he missed, at least are in great areas. Like, you know, if his confidence was there on the day, you'd feel like they were guaranteed goals. And the fact that he's consistently getting in good areas tells you that, okay, you know, with the confidence there, because I think that's the number one thing you need as a striker up front. If that confidence arrives back for next season, then I definitely think that Werner will be a lot more confident, and I definitely think that he will put these chances in the back of the net. I mean, we're going to have to rely upon him for next season too. You know, it'll be interesting to see how he could be potentially used. Let's say we sign a new striker. Could we even see possible variations of Tuchel using different back three systems, having 2 strikers up front? Just like when Werner was playing at RB Leipzig, when he was playing off of Poulsen and guys like Nkunku and players like that. You know, at times we were playing with 2 strikers there, and, you know, let's say potentially Haaland and Werner. That could be quite interesting if you're asking me. But yeah, you know, Werner showed that he got the basics right last season. It's up to him now to, you know, right those wrongs from last season and start scoring. So, you know what, I'm going to have a lot more faith in these guys, especially after we won the Champions League too. I feel like, I don't know, it was so weird when we won that. I felt like I just had this weird feeling that we could do it. Like, nothing was telling me, you know what, it's not impossible that we go all the way in the Champions League this season. So, you know, I guess my hunch is the same for Werner for next season. I think that, yeah, he'll come back a lot stronger. But anyway, we do move on. Moving on to Dranid Razak. Hey man, how you doing? I'm deep in it. You have really upped the quality. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Hey, listen, there's still a lot more I have to do, a lot more I can improve upon. Of course, there's been, you know, many great Chelsea content creators with some great, you know, visuals and streams and stuff like that. So I definitely think that right now, the Chelsea community is definitely in a very healthy place. I feel like if I'm a viewer, you know, I've got so many great options to watch. So yeah, bro, I appreciate that, man. Moving on to Nick N. It's 90% mental, I swear. It's what separates Ronaldo from Morata and from Pant. Yeah, you're right. You know, Morata, I also think it's kind of like technique as well with the guy. I feel like, you know, when the way he strikes the ball sometimes, I never see any whip or bends in his strikes. That miss he had recently for Spain, I think in their first group stage game, you know, a better technical striker is putting that in the bottom right corner. But I don't know. I definitely don't think that Werner is on Morata levels, even though Morata's not like a terrible striker. He just wasn't the striker for us. And I don't know. I think Werner showed us a lot of promise and gave us hope that he can like build from that promise, obviously, for next season. But anyway, moving on to Tom Advisor. Hey, Nini. Thoughts on Yuri Tillemans? For me, he would be an upgrade. Armour Fields, he would be an upgrade to Armour Fields. He is the Belgium Thiago Alcantara. I think that's definitely an amazing shout. You know what? I was actually thinking a lot about Tillemans because he plays some excellent passes, like in behind. You know, his playmaking, ridiculous, long, short, very technical too. You know, at times I do feel like we could benefit from that type of passing creativity from the back, but you know, at the same time too, I feel like I have seen that from Billy Gilmour. And I do think that when Gilmour becomes like 23, 24, let's say he does decide he wants to go out on loan. It's not 100% confirmed at this point in time, not just yet. But I definitely feel that he has some of that profile and some of the attributes that we need to be able to be an even better and stronger midfield. But yeah, Tillemans, I could definitely see him running. And it's funny because, you know, the club, he's been on the club's books for many years. Back when he was in playing for Anderlecht, back when he was, I think, 16 or 17 years old. You know, he was on the club's books for a long time. And, you know, one guy I know who obviously works in the industry was, you know, he always felt like he was going to be like a Chelsea player. So I was surprised to see that didn't happen in the end. But yeah, man, you know, I definitely think that's a great shout. Tillemans is definitely a sick player. And now we have another super chat. Hey, hey, man, long time. Appreciate that, man. Nice to see the Q&A's back. Love your content. Where will Chelsea finish next season without any transfers? Oh, that is a hard one. That's a good one. Now, of course, yesterday I said that I can't give a full prediction until I see what we do in the window first. Like, I have to see the business we do first. But based on the players we have right now, well, I think we'll do better than come fourth. I don't know if it would be necessarily enough to win the whole thing, but I expect to see even better output from Kai Havertz. If Ziyech still remains, I expect to see more from him. I expect to see more goals from Timo Werner. I expect to see a better Mason Mount, who, you know, I feel like he can actually contribute more to the goals himself as well. And, you know, I definitely think we have foundations in that team already. Like the way we won the Champions League, like it was, for me, easily, infinitely better than the first time we won it. And I just love that we've won it once and twice, and I could just like say that. But you know, we beat all the champions at the time during that run-in. You know, Porto, they won the league. Madrid won the league too. Alessi had, you know, they just won the league this season, so technically they count as well. And you know, Man City too. And we just played all those teams off the park, and were by far the deserved winners. So, you know, if the squads can play and compete at this level already, I definitely feel like market reinforcement could definitely give us that boost to say, okay, now this is a proper like title challenge where we can actually win the thing, and even look at us as like low-key favourites. But you know, if we kept the same squad, I expect us to do better than last season. I'd expect to finish between third or second, to be honest with you. I think that someone like Kai, he's going to come back even stronger for next season, now that he has like a consistent role. And you know, the way that he's scoring goals for Germany in this tournament, he's definitely carrying that form with him to next season. So yeah, man, I'm predicting third or second, to be honest. And yeah, it's great to see you again, Baddy. Been a long-term supporter for years and years and years, from when I first started this channel. So I appreciate it a lot, man. Thanks a lot. Okay, you guys, moving on to some more questions from the chats right now. Becco Benson, thoughts on away goals being removed from UEFA competitions? Oh, it's definitely a sticky one, to be honest. You know, I can kind of understand it, and I can kind of not understand it. And normally when I'm in situations like that, I need to give more time to really just figure out my thoughts. I don't want to just like react and instantly say, oh, you know, this is a terrible thing that makes no sense. But, you know, I'm just thinking about the nature of how games could be played now over two legs. If you're going to scrap the away goal rule, do we necessarily need to have extra time after, I don't know, like let's say like 180 minutes of football and then going straight to penalties? I'm not too sure about that personally. At least with away goals, it kind of encouraged teams to have to attack a bit You know, but at the same time, you know, the rare occasions that it went to extra time, and the team scored very early on, it was an absolute waste of time afterwards, because then the other team could never get back in the game. So I can see it from two perspectives, to be honest. But yeah, it's definitely a massive call, and it definitely feels like UEFA are definitely feeling the pressure from the super clubs. You know, the play the super clubs made, of course they probably knew that it might not happen, but I guess that was like them flexing their power and their muscles. And we've already seen UEFA, you know, reduce the penalty for financial fair play. They've minimized that a lot more now. They're giving more freedom and spending power, and I guess maybe you have to do that too during COVID as well, free up some of the funds. But I feel like it's just more rules maybe, you know, favoring the big clubs, because we know that you know, they want more of that Champions League TV money, and they don't like uncertainty. You know, they can't build their business off from that. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, thanks for that. And let me just, you know what? I think next time I do a stream, I need to obviously let the mods know in advance. I'm going to answer your question, Caleb, but obviously you need to stop because it's a bit moist. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, Cornwall to Huddersfield confirmed. Yep, that is definitely confirmed. I'll speak about that later on. But to start with the super chat from Mitchell Brown, thank you again for backing it, bro. Do you think Pogba plays better for France because of Kane, and will Kane really win the Ballon d'Or, Champions of Europe? I definitely think that, you know, Kane will step up even more once it gets to the knockout round football. I love to see it, to be honest. I think the way that Kane is so humble and so good, football has definitely rewarded him for that. And I don't know, I feel like certain characters kind of have that type of like fantasy, like Disney, like ending, like you know, into their careers and stuff. So I definitely think that if they win it, Kane has to have a shout for Ballon d'Or. But with Pogba playing better for France, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think, you know, if I have a player like Paul Pogba, I need to make sure that, number one, I have a midfielder beside him that is going to do some of that defensive work. Yeah. And number two, I need to have options for him on the ball. You know, he plays some. He's been playing the best passes in the tournament. He's one of the best midfield players on the planet easily. And I've always felt like United have never had the real conditions for him to get the best out of his career. You know, at times when he's playing different midfield roles, playing in a two, you know, when Pogba plays that little like Mazzala role where he has a license to move forward and play from deep as well, that's when you see him at his full creative best. So if I was Man United, I'd be thinking, you know what, Ronaldo Sanchez is looking like a mini Kante right now. You know, that's the type of player that allows Pogba to, you know, play with more freedom and more license. And, you know, of course, the third reason is all we can't forget that France have better players than what they have at Man United. So I think there's no debate around that. And as I'm always saying, you know, you give top players the ability to play with other top players, and that's when you really see what they can do. So thanks for that, man. And moving on to the next one from Trent Brown, watching from Washington DC. With Gilmore probably going on loan to Norwich, could we see Mbamba go with him? Now, okay, you know what? I was probably gonna leave this for a video, but I might as well say it here. I mean, I can still put it in a video. It's not that deep. But the thing is that, of course, with Colwell now going to Huddersfield, I think Simeo as well, I think he's still negotiating on a new deal too. And the fact that Mbamba, you know, last season, he had a terrible injury which really just, you know, slowed down the entire progress. From what I'm hearing, there's a stronger possibility that a loan move could be there for him in January, potentially. But right now, especially for the under-23s too, they want to have a bit more experience, right? You know, of course, Colwell's left, of course, and it gives more opportunity for Mbamba to, you know, train with Tuchel, for Tuchel to see him as well, and you know, get more game time and fitness before any potential loans in the future. So right now, the plan is for Mbamba to stay, which I think makes a ton of sense considering, you know, the injuries that he's been suffering with so far already. But yeah, he's definitely a player that is very exciting. You know, seeing him on his socials too, he looks hungry. The guy looks ready. You know, he looks like I feel like he could really surprise Thomas Tuchel. And just thinking about the talent we already have at centre back is absolutely mad. Like, Colwell is like a real deal talent. The fact this guy at 18 is going to Huddersfield Championship, you know, getting the first minutes. Yeah, listen, there's many a time, you know, our best 18-year-olds have gone on loan to the Championship, and then they've actually, even them, you know, halfway through the season, played at a higher level. We saw that with Conor Gallagher, and you know, that's what we can do. And from what I heard too about this whole Cornwall to Huddersfield Town deal, you know, I actually heard about the news yesterday, but obviously I can't bait nothing out. But one of the reasons behind why the club allowed for that was because of the great relationship already. When Trevor Chalobah signed for them on loan too, of course, it was a positive experience. And, you know, I feel now that we're seeing us loaning out players to your Charltons, your Huddersfields, your Swanseas. These are three good clubs. You know, these are three clubs that I feel like the club can really trust upon them to actually use the talent, use the youth, and give them opportunities. And it seems like everything is quite smooth when it comes to negotiating as well. So I hope that we continue to have those like long-term type of not necessarily feeder clubs, but those types of business relationships. I do feel like if we had them, that pattern from the start, when we had that generation of your Rubens, Burgers, etc., it could have done a lot of these guys big wonders. But you know, that's the thing of the past now, and you only learn from your mistakes. So yeah, that's the situation behind the academy right now. But of course, thank you, Trent, man. Appreciate that, bro. Moving on now to the sub. Hi there, much love from South Africa. Thanks for that, man. Damn, you guys are hella supportive, like getting so much love. Damn. But anyway, let me I think I actually even found a way to know where the super chats are now. So I feel like, okay, I found it here. Tony Tone, thank you, man. What are your many strengths? Wow, that's a good one. Where do I even start with that? Like, what would I say? I can list off a few good strengths. I'd say tactically, the guy is very strong. He can play in a 2 and a 3, in a holding role too. I think his playmaking from the back is very good too. I like how he moves the ball, how he's playing line-breaking passes, the vertical ones between the lines too, and you know, he has that press resistance on top. And another thing that I really like about his game is how he wins his tackles, how he wins his duels. One thing that I'm planning on doing, that I'm doing my research for now, you know, I want to do like a big N'Golo Kante video, because I feel like a lot of times, you know, he's known for just like the bait stuff, you know, the work rate, he covers the ground, the tackles, blah blah blah. But for a guy that's this good at this, there must be a science behind why he's so good at it. Like, I remember with Didier Drogba back in the day, like one of the, you know, best aerially in the world. But I remember there was one game when we played against what team was it? It was a FA Cup game, or was it like a Carabao Cup game, or Carling Cup game as it was back in the day. It was against Bradford, and they had like some wham striker. It would have been like double the size of Drogba. And I was thinking to myself when I watched him play, I'm not seeing this guy. I was young back then. I was thinking to myself, bro, I've never seen this guy's on a single aerial duel, and he's this big. Like, is he just too heavy to even get off the floor? No, it wasn't even that. It's a fact that, you know, his timing of his leap was terrible. And like, when I clocked that, it made me appreciate Drogba even more, because it was like the technique behind, you know, his aerial prowess. That is the reason why he is so good. It's always been that timing, and how he gets his body in front of his defender too. You know, he's always leaning back too as well. Like, that's what the very best players do. And yeah. I don't even know why I even went there. I literally lost my train of thought. But yeah, I'm hoping that I made sense in the end somehow. But anyway, thanks for that, man. Moving on to the next one, the sub. Any updates on Haaland? So right now, I'm not hearing any updates at all. And hey, normally that's a good time, man. You know, the club's always cooking behind the scenes. We've always done our best business like that. And, you know, for a deal, for a player like Haaland, you don't want to be baiting out, you know, what the negotiations are, what's happening here, there. That's something you keep discreet and something you work upon behind the scenes. Yeah, I feel like we've got too much great information for us to not feel that there isn't a possibility to sign him. When you're hearing keywords like Roman, you know, has money to spend, wants him, Viola, mending that relationship, and then of course Haaland being interested in making the move too, because he sees the potential of the team as well. And we're one of the few clubs that can actually afford him. I mean, for me, it's a case of just having patience and just seeing what happens. You know what I mean? So thanks for that, the sub. I appreciate that, man. Moving on now to DJ E Fox 96. Okay, let's go. Thoughts on White going to Arsenal for 50 million. Oh my god, that's actually so mad that he's going for that much money. Like, yeah, Prem tax, man, Prem premium tax. Like, it's crazy. And you know, I know you guys know what I'm gonna say, but the fact that we sold Tomori for half that money for a guy that's been playing at a higher level that his entire career over Ben. Number one, God knows how he didn't make it to the England national team. And number two, how is Ben White worth double what Fikayo Tomori is? It's not making too much sense to me, I'm not gonna lie. It didn't really add up in that sense. But hey, listen, Arsenal, they're a club that always has money, but I feel like they don't have a plan. The reason why Arsenal are so dead is that they lost their identity. They don't have a style of play no more. You know what I mean? There's no vision. They just signed random good players without having that structure behind how they're going to play and how they're going to do things. You know, I'm looking at White, I'm looking at Gabriel. I could have sworn they both play in that same position down the left-hand side. So how's that going to work now? What, Gabriel and White, or is it going to be White competing with Gabriel? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. But yeah, you know, that's an Arsenal move to make. I do think Ben White is a good player, very good, very technical player from the back. So it's a nice step up for him for sure. So yeah, let's see what happens. But you know, it's crazy that we're literally selling players that we own for half the money who are performing at a higher level. Maybe in hindsight, it was a massive mistake to even put in the option to buy in that deal. If it wasn't there, with how AC Milan were longing out our entire life too, you best know that we would have got suitors who would have paid that money for him. But it is what it is, and to be honest, I'm happy for Tomori, because now he's playing for a club with history that seems to be on the rise again. And yeah, you know, the respect he's getting in that country too. Yeah, I'm reading things about how some journalists are saying that he's even better than like De Ligt. I mean, hey, I'm very happy to hear stuff like that. And yeah, you know, long may I hope his career continues to blossom. But yeah, you guys, obviously we move on. Aaron Mcnelly, been watching since Morata transfer videos back in summer 2017. Appreciate that, man. I can't believe it's been nearly 4 years. That's so mad. That is so mad. Like yeah, like next month is gonna be like my 5-year anniversary. Obviously, I started my YouTube channel, I think, on July 7th, 2016. So yeah, it's been 5 years. 5 years. So yeah, so long. I didn't even know I'd be doing this for that long. But yeah, man, you know, we thank God. But moving on to H Stacks, Dini. Say we bought Mcnelly, would he be able to play that central DM role in a 4-3-3? 100%. 100%. He can play that role sitting. He can play that role as Kante, you know, playing forward, spinning balls high up, and he can play in the 2 as well. So yeah, this guy is very, very complete. You know, him, your Bellingham's, players of that mold, they're in that same class of, you know, midfielders that can kind of do everything, which, you know, they kind of fell off a bit, but it's great to see that they're coming back. And I think Mcnelly, man, young player of the year in Ligue 1, the way he plays, you know, a massive he had such a massive tactical importance for that Monaco team, a massive one. So now that Ligue 1 clubs have to sell players, I don't know, like me, I would actually make a move for him, but we'll have to see what happens, to be honest. Moving on now to Rafa Javed Nini. What are you hearing regarding Haaland? Does he have a price this summer? Now, the price we all know is what's been reported, 154 million from Dortmund. Of course, the reports from Master yesterday didn't really like intensify, which kind of tells you everything you need to know. But there was one interesting piece of information there where they suggested that, you know, Dortmund could even be happy to sell at 130 million euros. At the same time, though, when do Real Madrid have that money to really do anything like that? And today they're even saying that, you know, Madrid will go for Mbappe, meaning that we can go for him, which for me would make more sense. I've always thought like Mbappe to Real Madrid is the next move for him. And there's no way in hell Madrid have the money to fund a move for Haaland and Mbappe, and how that team can work and make sense. Like I don't get it at all. So yeah, man, thanks for that. Of course, moving on to Dylan Kirk, watching from South Africa. Love your videos, man. Do you think Bakayoko can come back and be a useful squad player? Yeah, because we know the news that came out. Bakayoko, Loftus-Cheek, they're going to get pre-seasons, and I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, these guys aren't with their national teams. You know, players will be returning back to Cobham soon to start training, and this is a massive opportunity to, you know, try and catch Tuchel's eye. For me though, Bakayoko in a 2, I'm not too. I mean, listen, he's a good player, but is he the player that we need to go to the next level? And even for like a squad position role to it, you know, if that was the case, I'd rather keep Gilmour than Bakayoko, because we've seen that Gilmour actually brings like a benefit. He actually brings something to the team, and I don't know. I can understand if like Baka was seen as like the deputy to Akanse, but at the same time, I think it's time for him to move on and be sold. To be honest, I don't think he'd get too much game time. And you know, if there was one midfield player that I'd want to see come back, I mean, come on, it has to be Ruben. Like, it simply has to be Ruben. Yeah. I definitely think that he could be a great addition to the squads, give Tuchel even more things to think about, and you know, more variations tactically for the team too. So for me, I'm hoping that I see that happen. But we do move on now to Aaron Mcnelly. Did I swear I answered one of your questions? Lucky, I guess I'm answering another one. Bakayoko, no, I know. Boat sailed 3 years ago. Listen, back when we were linked with him, I said from day one, this isn't the guy we need. And I said that because I watched him at Monaco, and I was just like, if we want a massive replacement, other than the physical profile, like, who's actually pushing this deal through is not really adding up. It wasn't really making too much sense. For me, it was always what he did with the ball, and all them little pass comments at the time on Twitter, you know, showing me easy passes on the counter attack, as if that's not how Monaco plays. It's just like, nah. Baka's strength in that Monaco team was his ability to cover ground, and that was it. But he wasn't there to kickstart attacks. That's what Fabinho was doing. So didn't make too much sense for me. Moving on though to Chris Ward. Nini, have you ordered the limited edition Chelsea shirt with the 2 stars? I have not done that just yet, but that will be something I'll be doing very, very soon. Like, probably this month, you know what I mean? I like to budget myself every month. 100% I need to get that. But the reason for the delay is that I'm thinking, should I go to the mega store? I swear I can go to the mega store and they can just, like, you know, put the stars on for me, so I don't have to get like a new one. Otherwise I'm gonna have 2 then. But maybe I should have 2. You know what I mean? 2 European trophies, 2 shirts. Hey, I like that symbolism. We now move on to the blue to full game. If Lukaku stays, Kane goes to City, and Haaland signs a new contract, who are you buying, Nini? Now, I'd be very surprised if Haaland signed a new... Actually, would I be surprised? I don't know. It would have to be like... Even this thing about like his release clause, you get certain conflicting reports suggesting that maybe that's not even a real thing to begin with. And that maybe that can make more sense. Maybe that's why Dortmund are like, we don't have to sell him now because there was no release clause to begin with. And yeah, we need to guarantee that we're going to get Champions League football now that we know Sancho is destined to go to Man United. To be honest, I wish Sancho, United, Sancho, is Solskjaer going to get the best out of him? Is there going to be the system there? I'm not too sure, but at the same time, I feel like Sancho could be that player that Pogba has always wanted. I think that they could really link up well and play together and find each other quite a lot. So I'm still a bit indifferent on that one, but yeah, with Haaland, all I can keep saying is, you guys, is that, you know, there's still a lot of time. There's still plenty of time before this window does end, and a deal of this size and nature is going to take a long time to get done. But take confidence from the fact that only a select handful of clubs can even consider being able to afford to sign him in the first place. And right now we're in an incredible, like, financially healthy position. So yeah, you guys keep being patient, keep dreaming, and let's wait to see what happens to this story, basically. But of course, moving on to Rovi Campbell from Jamaica. Bro, I love Chouameni, but I think Gallagher is better than him, comparing statistics and physically. I hear what you're saying. I think at times that, for me personally, like, stats, I wouldn't exclusively use them. I'd use them alongside, like, watching the player. But, you know, Chouameni provides quite a lot, and he was incredibly important for Monaco. And, you know, you're not winning Young Player of the Season in Ligue 1 for no reason. Gallagher, I think that there's a potential future there, because there are going to be spots made open in the team in the next few seasons. If I'm him, I need to be playing at a higher level now compared to West Brom. Focus on playing more. I think that he learned how to cope physically in the Prem. Was West necessarily the best for his footballing career? Not really, but still many positives to take from that. He's a very good player. I definitely think that he could work under Tuchel. I get like them little bits of vibes from him, and yeah, I think that Gallagher is someone to definitely pay attention to in the next few seasons. But yeah, you guys, I'm gonna probably be on for like another half an hour more before I wrap things up, because I need to make dinner for the bay, and then yeah, I've got some of my guys coming around later. So yeah, it's gonna be a nice little jam, to be honest. Moving on to Nathan Moses. Why is Tchouaméni not as hyped up as Camavinga? Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to answer that, man. It's a bit surprising. I thought that maybe Tchouaméni's rep would be a lot higher, but I think if I even go to his Twitter, like no one even follows him. I think it's one of them ones, to be honest. He's got like less than 10,000 followers. It's not making any sense, to be honest. Yeah, he's slept on right now, but he's one of them guys that won't be slept on, too soon. But anyway, thank you, Ed Robinson, for the super chat, and dang. If you guys, of course, I appreciate sending the super chats, but if you do, just double check first that your question is actually in the post, because it's very easy to make that mistake. I've done it myself a few times too. But Ed, I'm gonna try and find your comment in the live chat as well. So I'm gonna definitely keep an eye out for your name. But moving on to the next one, and that is Nahal Jane. Do you think people are overreacting to the fact that we haven't made any signings, considering we haven't been able to sell most of our deadwood yet, and the window only opened like 2-3 weeks ago? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you, of course, man, you're definitely someone that is, I can tell is quite measured, and you're analysing the situation. It's not the first time we've had windows like this. You kind of clock a few patterns about how business gets done. Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with you, man. It's one of them ones where it's just remain patient and don't overreact. Reacting to clubs like, I don't know, Arsenal and, Villa and, clubs like that doing business. I mean, yeah, good for them. Great for their fans. But we're not even in the same market for the same type of player. So the ones we're looking to get are some of the hardest ones to sign. And that's going to take a lot of patience. Personally, I'm hoping that we can get at least 1-2 signings done before pre-season. I think if we can do that, not make the same mistake of where we don't give these guys a pre-season, and then as the season's going on, players still need more time to adjust. I think that's what happened last season. I think it's more understandable due to the context of COVID at the time, but now that things are easing up a bit more, I think that we can definitely control the situation, because if we want to win the league, those first 6 games in the first 2 months are incredibly hard. And if we come out on top, I'm thinking, I don't know, at least 14, 15 points out of 18, then I think we'll guarantee that we'll all know that, okay, there will be a title race next season. You know what I mean? I think that's what we have to see. We need to see a strong start, and to give the team the best possible start, business has to be done before pre-season, so Tuchel can work with these guys. So we're not gonna be starting off some slow pace. That's how I see things. But anyway, we do move on to Sean Kenner. Yes, Sean. Ningini, what is the future for Mark Gueye next season? Loan deal next year in Prem, or stay and fight? We will secure signings, top signings like Holland before PL starts, or end of window, your opinion? Well, as I was just saying, I'm hoping that not all of them are going to be near the end of the window. I'm guessing that Haaland ideally wants to probably get things kick-started, and he doesn't want like a slow start if he was to potentially sign for us. So, I mean, that's how I see things. But yeah, man. It'll definitely be an interesting one to see. And in regards to Mark Gueye, I mean, it can go either way. Ideally, I'm hoping he gets a pre-season. I think that's still the plan, but it seems likely that he will get another loan move, which maybe, if we don't sign any defenders this season, our defense is top class. We've got a great defense all around, like, Zuma, Christensen, Rudiger, Thiago Silva, Reece James, Aspie playing there. I feel like if I'm certain guys like Mark Gueye, I'm playing the long game. There will be spots open in the team in a not too distant future. So keep doing what you're doing. That defense will definitely change. Your players like let's say Silva, Rudiger, Aspie and co, are they going to be here forever? Probably not. So yeah, right now play that long game. Of course, impress Tuchel when you're here at the club, playing under him too, and yeah, see what happens in the future. But Moving on now to, okay, I'm going to go to Billy Dunbar. If you had your choice, who would you pick to sign at centre-back and why? You guys know what my choice is. I don't want a centre-back. I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy to just keep what we have, to be honest. If I was looking at centre-backs, I'm probably looking at youngers. I know that, obviously, shout out Joe Tweedy, one player that he raves about all the time. He plays for RC Lens. He's called Loic Bardet. One of them, like Cavalier-esque, and when I say Cavalier-esque, I mean it in the sense of that intelligence, you know what I mean? Intelligence offensively is so important. It's like one of the most slept on attributes, because you can't create a highlight reel from smart, intelligent defending. It's like how you use your body, how you think, how you react to situations, where you funnel your man to in less dangerous areas, etc. And Loic Bardet, he seems to be very technically good and very intelligent too. I keep hearing great things about him, and I think he's definitely one to watch for the future, you guys. But anyway, got 2 more super chats. Eli, sorry, wow, what is wrong with me today? Eli Nads, thanks for that, man. Nini, would you start Ruben next season? I think it's hard for me to say I'll just start him. I can't say that. I can't just say I'll start him. But he's good enough where he can get a start. And to be honest, just having him in the squads where, Tuchel will definitely rotate that squad for next season. He's going to be so beneficial for us. As I keep saying, you guys, I don't care what he did at Fulham. You put any of the best players in the world for that team, they're not saving them at all. The fact that he remained injury-free is the main thing. And coming back to an environment where he knows around the guys he knows and guys that respect him too very highly. And, he's really appreciated still. And playing with better players, I think you'll see what Ruben can do again. So, I'm not going to say he's a guaranteed starter, but he'll definitely get bins if he stays, and I definitely think that he can improve the squads. So now moving on to Bell. Okay, I'm just gonna say Bell, bro. Keep up the good work, Nini. I'm a Chelsea fan from the States, and I look forward to every video you upload. And do you think Timo will come into form next year, or should we sell him? I think for any of our new signings from last season, I'm not selling any of them. None of them at all. There's so many reasons behind why they had inconsistencies throughout their season. You look at Kai, the fact that he came in quite late too, didn't even have a proper pre-season, and it took a while to find that set position while acclimatized into a new league where it's known for its intensity and players that will close it down left, right and center. Natural. Same case with Timo Werner. I think when you're playing up front and let's say, you're playing with Ziyech, he's finding you all the time, and then he's injured and he's out the team, and then your distribution isn't gone. You know what I mean? The guy who makes the assist for you is not there. That's gonna, play some parts as well. And he's also played many different roles throughout the season, last season as well. The fact that he was in great goal scoring chances, we've seen the threat he brings with his pace and behind too. He's pressing from the front, and I felt like as the season was coming to its end, it felt like he was getting a bit more comfortable with the intensity and the pace of the league. I definitely think that he'll come good again. And now that Tammy potentially is going for a new striker, do I see Werner as still a first team striker? No, but I feel like managers, especially for the big clubs, they want to have a strong squad so they can constantly have options all the time. I definitely think that Werner will play a big part again next season. Could we potentially see him playing up front alongside a striker in the system? I guess we'll find out soon. But I'm expecting big things. And the thing is, if he doesn't perform, then you know what's going to happen. He'll just get sent on loan. So thanks for that, man. And I appreciate all the love and support, man, from all you guys as well. It means a lot. Moving on. And I'm now going to answer Muller 24/7. Havertz will be good, but not Werner. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I can understand why people would still say that. 100%. I think it'll be a massive season for Werner. He has to really show why he deserves to be here in that sense, and I guess we'll find out. But moving on to Sahara Papi. What are you saying, man? You good? I don't got a question. I just want to say, what's up, my bro, Nini? Keep doing your thing, G. Love your videos. Respect, man. But moving on to Dominic Adidas. Adidas. Do you think Ruben will be a good player anymore, or is this the end for Ruben? Be honest, I know you love him. I watch your videos. And do you think Isaac will be a good replacement? Why do people think I'm just like lying, thinking that I think Ruben's gonna do bits if he gets a chance again? Like, how many times have we seen players who've suffered injuries like that who come back? I mean, I think for me, I'm taking confidence from Hudson-Odoi. Yeah, he had a bad injury too, the same one as Ruben, but not as severe as Ruben's. And he's come back, and I thought last season was definitely a promising one, and I'm expecting even more things from Callum for next season. I think it's the same thing for Ruben. I think bringing him back home, he's got, I tell you, he's a very popular guy in the squad. The youngers, they all really look up to him. He's low-key like a leader, and I think if he plays in a position that suits him, not what Parker was doing. Listen, I think it's an absolute waste of time to be playing Ruben as like your false nine, or playing him down the right hand side, or playing him as like your cam. He's not a cam. It's an absolute waste. Play this guy box to box. Let him play facing the goal. And we saw what he did in Sarri's season. I don't think that all the class has left him. Definitely not. It just needs some of that time to find that spark again. But for sure, we saw glimpses of that last season. And I think with another pre-season, now that he's not injured anymore and he's fully fit, we're going to see even more. And I feel like, you know what I mean? When we discuss players, we're still talking about human beings. It's not like stats on the sheet where it's just like, okay, if you perform bad last season, it's a guarantee that you're definitely going to perform bad the following season. It doesn't work like that. We're human. Like, if you have like certain variables in your favor again, your form's going to go back up again. So that's how I see it. And I felt like, I've made that mistake personally time and time again for me to not make it again and just be too hasty with my dismissal. You know what I mean? So thanks for that, man. Moving on now to Mr. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to move on to Zabu Mini Star. Why don't we sign Everton's Calvert-Lewin? Calvert-Lewin's a good player, but I mean, I don't know, man. If I'm Tammy Abraham and imagine we sold him to then sign that your Lewins and strikers around that same class, I think that'd be a bit of a piss take, to be honest. Lewin had a good season playing for Everton, who, where did they come in the league? What did they win last season? You know what I mean? Anyway, no disrespect, he's still a great player, great aerially, but I just feel like Tuchel he likes to have forwards that can provide a bit more than just one thing, and that's taking nothing away from Calvert-Lewin, because he's a sick player. I actually do like him a lot. I think, aerially he's amazing, and I think it's like an art form to be very good in the air, know how to use your body. But I just think from a tactical perspective, I don't really think he's what we need to have. And considering that, Tuchel was very happy playing Kai in that position, if we didn't get a striker, I'd imagine Kai to continue to play there for next season. So yes, thank you for that, man. You guys, I'm going to be on for maybe like 10-15 minutes before I bounce and keep things moving. But moving on now to E-Man. Are we close to any big signings? Hey, at this point in time, I'm not going to guess. I'm not hearing anything at all. I don't know who these next big signings are, but what I can repeat is that when times are like this, where no news is coming, the club is cooking behind the scenes. So let's see what comes out. You know what I mean? Let's see what happens during the next few weeks. But I've told you guys already, talks for players, moves for players happen literally like a few days after the Champions League ended. I mean, we spoke to Raiola literally the day of the final, after the final. So, the talks, everything is happening. We might not know what's happening on a daily basis. No one does know. At the end of the day, the club will keep that to themselves. But, right now, a lot of stuff is definitely happening. But, yeah, Muller, man, don't be doing that dead stuff with, spamming your message. Like, come on, you can't think I'm going to answer it now. You know what I mean? Don't move like a dickhead now. But moving on to Ibrahim. Nini, do you think our struggles to sell dead players will impact our transfer business this summer, especially the Haaland deal? Ideally, I'd like to think no. I don't really think we're in a situation where we need to sell all the deadwood first to be able to like fund moves. I think we'll definitely play a part and it will definitely help to do other business. But you know, maybe it is the best time to work on moving on players that we don't necessarily need. You know, we've had guys on the wage book for a very, very long time, and to think that players like Zappacosta, for example, who was signed with a 17-18 season, is still here after all these years and all these loans. It's a bit of a madness, to be honest. You know, some of the deals we did back then, absolutely criminal. We can never do that again, and it's nice to see that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the transfer ban saved us, and it's quite interesting, you know what I mean? Like, literally, because we didn't spend any money for a season, it put us in a situation where we could spend afterwards. And I don't know, maybe I'm sounding silly, but could that not be like a strategy for other clubs to follow? Like, do you necessarily have to spend all the time during windows? Could you not maybe be more strategic and plan for the long term? I don't know, but all I know is that it definitely helped us. Moving on now to Ivor. Hey Ivor, what do you think of Ja Paulinho? He plays for Portugal. I know what you're thinking. You probably saw that nutmeg against Pogba, of course. You know, Paulinho for Sporting Lisbon. I'm not too familiar with him, of course. I'm not watching Sporting Lisbon like that, but you know, I'm hearing good things, and I think, you know, for international tournaments like this, it's always like a great marketplace for your Paulinhos, basically players like that who have quietly been good in their domestic leagues for a while, but can prove that on an international stage that, yeah, they can translate that form to other leagues and other places. So, you know, he was decent. He's been very decent for Portugal this Euros. But moving on now to Lorenzo Lopez. Thoughts on the Cougar? This guy, bruv. The brother willing to throw it all away. It's a mazza. It's definitely a mazza, man. But yeah, I'm not gonna get into YouTube's bad books by saying by even answering that. But yeah, but I definitely feel the energy you're coming with. That's what I'll say to that. But moving on to Walid. Hakimi is very good. He has an offensive streak. Yeah. Did you have to let me know that 6-7 times? I'm not too sure. But you're definitely right. He does have an offensive streak. Moving on to my guy, Oli Glanville. If Ruben stays, do you think we'd have to change the system to accommodate him, or could he operate in a deep line box-to-box role in the double six? Now, for me, I think Ruben could do that. And the fact that normally with how the system's played, you know what I mean? You have like Jorginho maybe sitting, and then Kante's allowed the license leave his midfield lines and break forwards. I could see that translate. You know, certain times using Ruben in that role. Now that he has like an extra defender behind him with that back three, I definitely think he can play that role. You know, it's not like he's this like super fragile guy that after like running like, I don't know, 50 yards is out of breath and holding his knees. I don't think there's anything that deep like that. But I think if used properly in like a pivot role or as part of a front three, then yeah, I definitely think that Ruben could do bits, and maybe even a Mount's type of like /8/10 role where, you know, there's a lot of opportunities for him to receive deeper and turn and receive in the half turn. So I don't know, I look at how we play, I look at what Tuchel's done tactically, and I definitely think that Ruben has a place in this team if he performs during pre-season, impresses Tuchel, and yeah, I think really, you know, I wouldn't sleep on him at all, to be honest. But yeah, safe for that, bro. Safe for that, man. Moving on now to Granite. I try not to put into Euros or World Cup hype, but Locatelli looks really good. Now, Locatelli has been doing this thing in Serie A for, I think, the past 2 seasons now. Of course, you know, tournaments like this allows you to see what these guys do on an international stage. But, yeah, I remember when he even made the move to Sassuolo, I was just like, why are AC Milan letting him go? Like, he was like a teenager when he was playing for them. You know, it felt like he had the qualities that they need. I don't understand what it is sometimes with AC Milan and young players. Like even like Sandro Tonali, like obviously he signed for them, had like a great season for Brescia last season. I mean 2 seasons ago. And you know, maybe because he's young, you know what I mean, you're gonna have like your growing pains. I think when you're a teenager too, like you forget that you're still growing. You know, you don't stop growing until you're 21. And I don't know if there's any complications around that. I'm not following too deep, to be honest. But But yeah, it's nice to see Locatelli doing his thing, being a talent for a long time now. And yeah, it seems like Juventus are the ones trying to do the most time to try and sign him. And I think he'd make a lot of sense there too. But anyway, we now move on to Lewis Kids. And you guys, I'm going to be real. I'm going to be here for 10 more minutes before I wrap things up. So if you want your questions prioritized, you know what to do. Send your super chats in. I'm now going to move on to Lewis Kids 90. Hello, Nini. What do you think about Vlahovic as an alternative to Haaland? Yeah, Vlahovic, Serbian striker, doing his thing at Fiorentina. It's been a few seasons. You know, he's had like his main breakout season this year, playing more consistently, bringing that goal threat. He looks like a very good player. I don't want to start getting carried away and say, you know, talking about like Gabriel Bastutza, you know what I mean, the Argentinian king up front. But yeah, Fiorentina, they know how to produce strikers. They know, you know, they're one of those clubs where, well, players like, I think, Giuseppe Rossi. Who else came from Fiorentina? What was that Brazilian guy's name called? The Brazilian Drogba back in the day. What, Omori or something like. I'm rambling on you guys, but you know, Fiorentina. You know, the reason why I'm even bringing it up like that is that I do feel like in football, like certain big clubs will look at like certain clubs that have like a history of producing players for big clubs. You know what I mean? Like you'll never see like us signing someone from Burnley, because no one actually does really. I mean, maybe Kieran Trippier's the only one, but he made a stepping stone to Spurs. You know what I mean? You know, Vlahovic is a good young player, but I just personally think that we need a bit more assurance up front now, because we really have seen that, you know, what a lack of consistent goal scoring how it can affect a team. The issues that can create. Our season would have been infinitely different if we put our chances in the back of the net. And there were many times where we should have done that, and some of the misses were actually criminal and actually laughable. So, you know, I don't think the move is to go back in the market for, you know, to sign someone who's just been doing this thing out Fiorentina. I think the pressure, especially coming to a new league as well and playing for a top 4 club, is completely different to Fiorentina. And you know, it's the same energy I have for him, for Isaac, etc., etc. They're not the moves I'm personally making, to be honest. But moving on to Lee Wei Yi. What is your opinion of Malang Sarr, and does he have a future on our defence? I think Malang Sarr is probably a long way away, but who knows if he impresses under Tuchel and he sees something. I mean, anything can happen. But you know, at Porto, he didn't really get like a first team place in that team. And as the Liga Nos League did end and came to its finishing point, he was playing for the B team week in, week out. So, you know, a guy that lost his first team spot to go to the B team, is that someone that I'm looking at over Rudiger, Zuma, Christensen, Silva, Aspie, James, Guy, even man like Colwell, guys like Mbiyama, etc., etc.? No, probably not, to be honest with you. And but we'll see. We'll still see. I mean, he's still very young. I think only just turned 22 years old. And you know, one thing with like development is that it's not like a linear curve. You know what I mean? It's not ones where it's just like every year you have to expect more and more and more. Sometimes there's dips, you know what I mean? But as long as that trajectory is still there, but the dips are going like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now on camera, you guys. You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. But yes, you guys, less than 10 minutes left. Mo 2, Nini, why do you think Chelsea fans are saying no to Lewandowski? He can guarantee us 4 years of goal scoring success. He can be on the top level for 4 or 5 years. You know, I do agree with that. You know, I think we have to actually not even accept. I think it'll become more obvious and clear that, you know, with how the advancements in sports science in the game, you know, these pros can play to a longer age now that they have more knowledge, now that they, you know, have the finances, you know, really maximize their careers. You know, you're hiring personal chefs, getting all this crazy equipment, mad training, you know, regimes, etc., etc., and clubs having all that good stuff too. You know, these guys can play for a long time, and you know, but it's actually quite nice to see. You know, seeing like Cavani, for example, still looking like he was when he was like 26 or 25. I think that's great to see. So yeah, Lewandowski, I think he only just turned 32, 33. He still has many more seasons in him, and you know, as an alternative, if we were told, okay, there's no chance in hell we can ever sign Haaland, then yeah. But for me, because there's still a big probability that we can get this deal done, you know, I agree with the rest of the people. Like, I wouldn't sign Lewandowski. I'm not signing anyone other than Haaland, to be honest. That's my #1 guy. Like, I'm not wasting my time doing videos on Haaland for no reason. Like, I'm hoping that I'm putting some positive energy out there in the universe. But for me, I need to see Haaland here next season. I just think that I'm just thinking about the marketing. Like, I'm looking at Mason Mount, for example. I was like, wow, this guy really is one of the most like popular players down in the country. Like, he puts out any quick tweet, and that's the interactions he's getting from that. I'm seeing him in how many ad deals as well. I'm seeing promotion left, right, and center. Like, no wonder this guy has a constant smile on his face. And yeah, you know, I feel like Haaland coming in, just having that character and personality, like, you know, like one of the best young forwards on like the Mbappe level, playing for us with other great young talent too. I think that's the type of story that we have to tell and we have to make happen. You know what I mean? But moving on now to Bobby Smoke Signals. Lewandowski is like another Shevchenko. That is off to a bad start already. He will be a spent force next season and will struggle with the power and pace of the Premier League. Now, Lewandowski never relied upon his pace like Shevchenko. You know what I mean? Let's get that correct first of all. They're two completely different type of players, and with how we play with our system, it's not like, you know, I don't even think Lewandowski really has to bust a gut like that anyway, to be honest. We're not going to have him playing on the shoulder of defences. This is a guy that will be playing that Kai role and will be roaming and picking positions up where he wants to, like how he does at Bayern Munich. So definitely the same context at all, man, to be honest. And I definitely think Lewandowski would be a success because he is one of the legends of this decade, easily. But moving on now to Vaisak Sukuma. Nini is just one striker enough, with both Tammy and Giroud headed for exits and many matches next year, including Club World Cup. Now, of course, we've got Club World Cup, we've got all these games coming up next season too. At least 60-70 is ahead of us. And I don't know, we've made it so public that both Tammy and Giroud will be going. A part of me is like, you can't be that brazen if you don't feel like someone's coming in to replace them. And you know, I still have big hopes for the striker position, to be honest. So yeah, we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. Moving on to Tutus Pulo. Nini, your thoughts on Blue Therapy? I love your videos, bro. On Blue Therapy, I read that as football therapy. Obviously, me and Jan, you know, we talk all the time. I'm a very good guy, very blessed guy, and it's been very good to like getting to know him even more, to be honest. Like, very sick guy. But on Blue Therapy, rah, man, I swear Paul's a bit of a demon, I'm not gonna lie. It's one of them ones where it's like, as I was watching it, I was in like horror and disbelief, and then that quickly turned into like laughter, because it was just so funny. Guys, definitely a character, but you guys don't want to hear my thoughts on that show. We'll be here all day. I do think that it was a bit of a mazza, and I actually did pay that £2.50 to see like the other like after show episodes. I felt like it was a bit dead, to be honest, in the sense that the production should have been a bit better. Like, it was too messy getting the episodes. Some things weren't communicated properly too. But yeah, you guys, you don't even know what I'm talking about. Blue Therapy. You must know what that is. You guys in the chat, you must know what Blue Therapy is. But moving on, because I'm going to be on for 5 more minutes, you guys. 5 more minutes. We now move on to Vader opinions on Livramento. I feel like I've been speaking about Livramento quite a lot on this channel this past few weeks, but I guess if you want additional opinions, which I'm more than happy to provide. Yeah, Livramento, man, for me is the Koba Hakimi. Yeah, them ones where there's always like trepidation, like, oh, you know, he's got no first 2 minutes, how can he really have any faith? All I can say is, for me, like, giving opportunities to youngsters is not like a lottery ticket where it's just like, okay, what if I play him and then, you know, everything you showed in training and like over the past few seasons meant nothing because now you can't control the ball in the field. I don't think it's nothing like that. You know, we produce guys on such a high level that I feel that we should take even more confidence from that now. And considering that a lot of players who were getting dismissed just literally a few seasons back, in your Mounts, Jameses, many more, were big reasons behind why we won the Champions League. I do feel like that should have really giving a lot more people that confidence that, yo, actually turning towards these guys isn't really this liability like I think it is. And you know what, for the past 10 years now, there's been consistent success from the academy, and maybe it is time to use them. I mean, look at Gilmore. A few years back, he's never, ever get a look into the team because, number one, the profile of him being small and weak, etc., etc. But Cal's been collecting man of the match awards for fun. You know, his first start for Scotland, picking one up too. You know, that's how you affect their potential, because for years and years we had guys on very, very ridiculous potential who are never able to really, you know, achieve that potential because, you know, their careers get bottlenecks. You know, they don't get the career moves they need. You know, the low moves screw them over, injuries screw them over, etc., etc. So, yeah, you know, for me, it's no risk whatsoever. But moving on to Aston. Hey, man, which club do you think would be the best for Tammy? Heard rumours that Liverpool are interested. I think Tammy could work there for sure. I think Tammy's a very good player, and he's proven that he can score at a top 4 level. For me, though, my thing is always going abroad. I love the idea of him going to Dortmund. If Haaland left, I think Tammy would easily bang in the goals for fun. Easily. And I think maybe even playing in a league like that gives you that game time to even work on all aspects of your game even more. I'd love to see him go there. I think he just pick up where Haaland left off. And yeah, I think he'd make a ton of sense, to be honest. But yeah, you guys, I'm going to be on for like, what? I said 5 minutes earlier. Am I going to do my Nini time? I say 5 minutes and I'm on here for like another hour. You know what? Probably not today. Probably not today because I really do have plans for later. But moving on to MB7. Nini, what's your opinions of the general football fan channel scene right now? That's a bit of a good one. Obviously, because of like lockdown, a lot more people have felt inspired to, you know, use the platform, give out their opinions, get involved and stuff like that. And, you know, to be honest, I always say this to people that I know who do this YouTube thing behind the scenes, like with me. I've always looked at YouTube because I've always watched YouTube for years and years. I've always been about it. And I look at the gaming media on YouTube, and I remember like how that was just growing and growing and growing. And yeah, it got to such a ridiculous place where it was just like, yo, you know, like there's such a massive audience. There's room for so many different content creators. You see the views that gaming news or channels, you know, get hundreds of thousands, and it feels like football YouTube is not on that same level of scale just yet. I think it can get there, and I think that, you know, the reason for that is that the younger generation, that the new generation of football fans, they're growing up with this tech. They're growing up knowing YouTube, going online, social media. That's only going to keep growing and growing. Like as these, you know, let's say in 5 more years, when like 11-year-olds are like 16, and then, you know, another 5 years after, the audience is just going to keep growing and growing and growing. So I do feel like people that got in quite early, it was probably like a great move to have. And, you know, depending on like what you bring to the table, your talent, how you talk about the game, whatever, that will depend on your success. But it definitely feels like it's in a very promising place right now. Yeah, you know, if you're maybe someone that's always considered wanting to get involved in YouTube, I'd go for it. That's literally how I got involved. Like I told you guys yesterday, like my guys would call me like pundit, and they call me professor because I'm always just going in too deep talking about football. And I was just like to myself, you know what? Like I'm literally like the equivalent of like a Star Wars nerd. Like, yeah, everyone is okay with Star Wars. You go to the cinema to watch it, give you a little popcorn and that, and you know what I mean. But how many people are really, really in love with Star Wars like that? You know what I mean? And can you really expect people to have that same type of passion for you with that? No. So YouTube was a platform, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should look to give some of my opinions on there. I started really slow. I was on a few Chelsea fan channel videos back when it was like Rory and Sophie and you know, a few others as well. And yeah, you know, I was on a few fan cams. I got like a decent like response, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should really push this through and actually, you know, start getting into YouTube, and that was that, to be honest. So yeah, I'm sure that answer was a lot longer than what you expected, but yeah, you know, that's just how it is, to be honest, man. 5 more minutes 5 more minutes. We move on now to Vatsal Pandya, and he wants to know, why are we not signing a midfielder like Tielemans who can give a killer pass to break down a low block? I feel that is the key to us winning the title, even more than a striker. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that is definitely a profile midfield player that we can have, and I think that if you go for a potential QnA or even a Rice, I think that is what you'll get with their array of passing. Yeah, I said Rice for a reason. Don't sleep on this guy yet. Like, this guy is, trust me, he's very techie on the ball, very good on the ball, plays those passes. We've seen it, man. We've seen Declan, boom, pass between the lines, taking out 3 guys. You know what I mean? Perfect, like, weight behind it too, and very nice for his teammates to control the ball. Doing that in Tuchel's system, you're gonna see levels. You're gonna see levels. But moving on to Logan Stocks, what is the situation with Musonda? I know he was injured, but do you think he'll be sold, loaned out, or tried in the first team? I think right now he's just focusing on his recovery and rehab. I think if he was to even get back, you know, get that game time again, he'd have to consider a January move. You know, I felt so sad for Musonda, that the talent. You know, we will never forget that Real Betis season he had, where he was just absolutely unreal. And like, you know how sick he was, that like even FIFA had to instantly give this guy 5-star skills and 5-star weak foot. You know what I mean? Like, FIFA don't ever react like that. Like, he had such a sick season. I remember trying to watch every Real Betis game I could, recording it the times they were on live as well. And yeah, I felt frustrated because like Musonda came at the wrong time, where you had Antonio Conte and he wasn't really using wingers in the team like that. And you know, Musonda, you want him to receive the ball out wide. You don't want him receiving this back to goal. I think that's the difference. You know what I mean? Just because you're a winger and you're skillful doesn't mean that translates just like that, especially when you're young and you don't have that physical upper body strength. So it's just certain things like that. For me, I back in the day, I really thought him and Boga would be the 2 ones to guarantee get places in the team. But yeah, you know, football can be a very cruel game. You know, it's all about timing. So many variables can affect what happens, and luck as well. It's crazy, to be honest. But moving on now to Alex. People talking down on Rice like he hasn't been bossing it all season. Thank you, Alex, man. I mean, that's why you're mods. You know what I mean? Because you're clearly a man with culture. But yeah, I'll never get that, and I don't care that you can't see it play for England. I mean, obviously we must know that, you know, different managers are going to tell players to do different things. You know what I mean? Too often people keep using examples like that as like a reflection of the player, but it's just don't work like that. You know, it doesn't work like that. But moving on to Flues, I like that name. That's a nice, very easy name, Flues. Hi Nini, what are your thoughts of the young right winger Lahanes from RB Leipzig? Yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't know, to be honest, man. I'm not gonna guess it like I know, you know what I mean, like every like 15, 16 or whatever from like RB Leipzig. Nah, I'm not too sure, to be honest, man. Shark Goals TV, what's the news about Ziyech? It seems to be conflicting. Right now, I'm just gonna base my opinion off what Ziyech said publicly about how, you know, he's got hopes of winning the Super Cup and he's thinking about next season. So I'm hoping that means that he's definitely staying, because I think it would be very harsh if he was moved on and sold on straight away. That wouldn't make too much sense for me. I think he's a type of guy that we'd need for next season, especially against those mid-block teams. I mean, you know, he's a player for me that you can't sleep on at all. I mean, I've watched him for too many years now, how sick he is. So yeah, we move on to Jason. Nini, thank you for making these videos. Cheers from Tennessee in the USA. Hey bro, I appreciate that, man, and thank you for coming, getting involved and coming to join us here on this live stream, man. Moving on to Mariam, please can you give a shout out to Algeria, Nini, because I'm from Algeria. Shout out to Algeria. Shout out to Algeria, man. Yeah, what can I say? Shout out to Algeria. Moving on to Trent Brown. In a later video, can you speak on potential first team or loan opportunities from... Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I've got that cooking behind the scenes. Don't worry. I'll be doing a little something. For sure. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to probably bounce now. I'll answer one more question before I go. Because, yeah, I need to have a shower. I need to get ready. I need to quickly eat. And then, yeah, get ready for when obviously you know, the boys come around later. But moving on to the final question, the final one. Okay, Haaland. I feel like I've discussed Haaland quite a lot, to be honest. I feel like I can't really say too much about that. But okay, Jake Miller. I appreciate that, man. I really do. Hey, bro, hope you're good. If you could sign one player, realistic or not, who would it be? So, Jake, appreciate that super chat, man. Yeah, you didn't even have to, but yeah, very, very humbled, very humbled. If I could sign one player and only one, it has to be up front. It has to be a particular man who plays for a club in Germany called Borussia Dortmund. It would have to be Erling Haaland. I just love everything about him, to be honest. And for me, it's a character. I think just the character. He has that character where this guy swims in big club environments. You know what I mean? Watching someone like him growing up with us over the years, I think that would definitely be like a joy to see. On top of that too, he's a stone cold killer up front. You know, the guy's finishing prowess is unreal with both feet. And just watching him grow and develop, just adding even more to his game and really mastering his craft. Like I say this because, like with Didier Drogba, he had a very late start to his career, but he was constantly improving, like all the time. And you know, he became an outstanding player in the end. And Haaland already is at such a high level at such a young age. Like, this is a player that can definitely go all the way. And you know, I feel confident with the players we have around him, the system as well too, and the type of league that he could be an incredible success here. And I feel like, you know, we need to have that striker we can all just like believe in again. You know, that top tier striker that's challenging for, you know, top goal scorers every season. It's been a long time since we've had that, since Diego Costa. You know, that we need to have that back. That is the final piece we've been missing for many seasons now. And I think with Erling Haaland, that this is the player that can be that guy for us. And you know, the money will be interesting. The deal, the negotiation is going to be very interesting. But you know, I do feel optimistic, very optimistic, that you know, there is the potential for business to be done and that deal to get sorted out. But yo, you guys, thank you for coming on today. I hope you guys enjoyed the Q&A streams. If you want to see more, of course, let me know in the comment section. Maybe I was thinking of maybe doing like, I don't know, 2-3 a week, something like that now. I'm quite enjoying like coming on, doing something a bit more casual too. And you know, I do want to do more with my live streams. I'm going to have like more guest features on where we can just talk football, discuss topics, all that good stuff. Do more collabs too with some of the great content creators now in the community too. Shout out guys like Son of Josie, guys like Matisse, guys like Monster, and yeah, many more. Yeah, man, it's definitely going to be a very fun summer. And on that note, I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lines TV. I'll catch you, man, later with some more videos. Cool.